Well, Kelvin, let's talk about players and the first new signing of the summer, Christopher Missalu, announced a few days ago.
Yeah, no, it was good to get one over the line. It always is good. I think the landscape is quite interesting, and it's changing and it's ever changing. So I think, as I've said previously, it's not going to be a normal window. It's not going to be a normal pre-season. It's not going to be a normal start to the season. So I think we'll see players sign much later this year, much closer to the start of the season, because it's been such a quick turnaround. We've still got teams still playing in the Championship, which affects matters, in terms of loan players, etc. So I think got a lot of tremendous faith and trust in Keith and the recruitment staff and the coaching staff to bring the right type of players in. And I think this lad has the right sort of character that can make a difference for us going into League One.
Fair to say as well that a lot of talking going on at the moment with potential targets.
Yeah, very much so. We've set a realistic budget in terms of income, in terms of where we think we'll be. We're definitely not going to be it's fair to say in League One, we're definitely not going to be in the top half of budgets. But we think we can be competitive. We didn't have a top three budget last year and got promoted. I would say Wycombe didn't have a top three budget last year and got promoted out of League One. So I'd say Wycombe's was nowhere near the top half. So and Keith jokes around and says that Wycombe did all chairmen in League One a favour by doing so well on a small budget. But we understand now. We understand that character and recruitment and character of the player coming in is important, and it's not about how much money you spend. It's the reality is it's getting the right boys in the building and the right lads that can come together like they did last year.
And last season, thanks to the work of Keith and Simon Tracy and the rest of the staff, we had a fair bit of success in the loan market. Is that an option you think Keith will look at for the coming season?
Yeah, we've also got a couple of boys that we'd like to retain from last year in Callum and Scott. I think there's been a lot of conversation all around, I think, but as with any loan player, and as it was, if we go back to last year, even with Scotty last year, it was late in the day. I think Scott will want to see how he fits into Blackburn's plans, which is understandable in the Championship, and so that might be a late shout, and it might not happen. Callum's the same; he'll want to find out if he is part of Bilic's plans, or he goes into the first team squad in pre-season or the under-23 squad in pre-season, and he will look around. Obviously, both players have done very well, and Callum especially will have a lot of interest for what he did for us. But I think Callum has stated to us, and his representative stated to us, he appreciates what happened here, and he knows it's a good place for him to come score goals. And that's important. So those conversations are happening, but our season next year isn't going to be based on Scott and Callum. There'll be definitely be hopefully better for having those in the building, but we've got to make sure that we get the right players in anyway. The same with V as well. V's been offered a contract which we think is reasonable, and we think it's a good deal for him. Did very well for us last year, and it's up to him to look around and see what's available, and we understand that, but we're also looking at other targets as well in that sort of position, and it's just going to be it's a waiting game on both sides a little bit, and we'll see what we can do. But again, we're confident that if he comes in the building, fantastic. If he doesn't, that's fine too, and the club will move on and recruit players to come into all areas of the team to improve.
Not just had a signing in the last few days, of course. We've had the new away kit revealed, and the reaction to that has been good.
Well, obviously, the first reaction was Charlie's gone and Nicky's gone. That was obviously the first reaction, and to be honest, the comments made that they were both gone was true, because they were both gone on holiday when the photo shoot happened. So, I think we'll talk about Charlie, but I told Nicky. I think I messaged Nicky quite late into the night of the promotion, and I said to him that he's playing in League One for us. I think allowing Nicky to go in 2015, 16 maybe, which was, Rob Page gets a bit of criticism for it, but it was agreed by Chris prior to him going that Nicky, could get closer to his family. I think that was a mistake, and I've told Nicky that many a time. And so Nicky's going to be part of what we're doing, and but they weren't in the photo shoot. I think, to be honest, Nicky wasn't just because he was away. There is a you have to look at the players that were involved in the photo shoot, and I think Michael's a good-looking boy, and Sammy and Ryan with their new haircuts, and Sean coming back from as a good-looking boys, and I think Harry might even be doing the home kit, and but more seriously, it doesn't indicate, obviously, kit launches, and I prepare people now. I don't think Charlie or Nicky are part of the photo shoot for the new home kit either. But it doesn't indicate anything. The plans are that both players are involved. Obviously, I've talked about it with Charlie before, and I think the interest has ramped up. But the commitment has always been. When Charlie came into the club, Keith spoke to him about being captain, and agreed with him that if he came in and did well, that we certainly wouldn't stand in his way if a championship, premiership type big club came in for him. And we live by what we've said, but it's going to take a significant fee for that to happen. That was always the agreement, was it would also take a fee, and it's going to be, we would be looking. I'm not even sure what the club record is, but I'm sure any type of deal that we would be looking for would be a club record deal. But there's nothing on paper at the moment. There has been some interest. We haven't even indicated numbers. We've told clubs if they're really interested in Charlie, then they need to make an offer and go through the appropriate channels, and we'll discuss it on its merits. Keith and myself got a fantastic relationship with Charlie. The lad wants to come in. The lad wants to do well, whatever happens. And even if there is discussion all the way up to the end of the transfer window, we're 100% confident that Charlie will put in performances when required in the Northampton Town shirt. So the good news is that we even though we've got some challenges of COVID, we've told Keith that we have no reason to sell Charlie financially, but we will look at his merits. There's a reality to players. It's not just a club decision. Sometimes it has to be decision made with three parties, as with all transfers, which is the club that's interested in purchasing the player, the player themselves, and Northampton Town. So we'll do what's in the best interest of Northampton Town, and we've got total faith in Keith and Simon from the recruitment team and the coaching staff have identified Charlie, have worked with Charlie, have improved Charlie. So we have every faith that would happen again if we did have to accept a deal. But again, whilst he's not in the photo shoots, there's no suggestion that Charlie's off. But it's a situation that we will monitor and we'll make decisions as they come in. But I think I know your question was about the kit, and we digressed a little bit, but I think the kit's gone down well. I think even though you've got your yellow T-shirt on, I think James has recovered from his yellow T-shirt. No, in fairness, I give James grief about that shirt a lot, but I think the kit's gone down very well. I think the Hummel is an exciting brand. I think the bespoke aspect to it is good, and I think the home kit will be will be well received. It's like anything in this world. Not everyone's going to be happy, and someone will have preferences. But I think people are excited by it, and we're excited by it, and we're looking forward to seeing the lads, in League One next year in both kits.
Just to go back to where you were digressing for a second, talking about Charlie's development, I think we've seen it with other players. Sam Hoskins is another one who springs to mind. But Keith and his staff have got a really good record of not just improving the team as a collective, but also improving and furthering the careers of individuals. And I put the lone players, the likes of Scott Wharton and Callum Morton, in that. So it must make Northampton Town an attractive option for a player who potentially sees the benefits in improving their own career as well as helping the club.
Very much so, and that's what a lot of the discussion with Callum has formed around. you have to bear in mind, Keith tried to recruit Callum early, a year ago. It wasn't just this January, but Callum got injured. It might have been a year and a half ago. I'm not sure, but Callum got injured at that time and he couldn't come in. So that recruitment, that identification is so important. And Sam is a good example. Someone sent me a note. I saw a comment from somebody saying that Sammy should be captain. And and you forget how long Sammy's been here. And when we first came into the club, Sammy was definitely seen as a bright light. And then he got his injury, and that didn't help him. But I think he's come back very strong, and I think he's had a very good season. I think we saw in the playoffs how important he is to the team, and we're pleased to get him signed up. But I think even Nicky, even Nicky's, it can improve. He's ripe old age, so I think Keith and the coaching staff do a very good job in terms of what goes on behind the scenes and making sure players are. You look at exciting players like Scotty Pollock. Sean's been unfortunately affected by injury, but Sean was developing well. So it's important that this happens, and it's one of the things that attracted us to Keith in the first place. I think he's always had a bit of a reputation of being able to improve players, in the group as well as the group.